Good afternoon. It's David Marks, as you guys know, with my best buddy in the mortgage world, Phil Caporusso from Americana Mortgage. And, everybody, you guys all know Phil. You've seen him, you've heard him, you've had to sit next to him in a room. But he's actually really very good at what he does, and he's been doing it for a very long time. And I think he's a terrific person. And we're going to do a talk today. I'm going to try to bother him and ask him stupid questions like I normally do. And he's going to try to be very serious and actually talk about content that's worth your while. So without further ado, Phil Caporusso, everybody. Yay, Phil!
Thank you, David. I always appreciate chatting with you. It's always a lot of fun, and like I was saying, I think you could be a character on Seinfeld. So maybe that'll be your next career. You never know.
What are you talking about? The character on Seinfeld. Okay.
I think he would have been great as George Costanza's brother. George Costanza didn't have a brother, but you would have been a great George Costanza brother. I think that would have been fantastic. All right. I'm sure guys didn't tune in to hear about George Costanza's brother, but what did they tune in? So again, thank you. It's always great speaking with you guys. So let me start out with this quote: "Change is inevitable. Growth is optional." That's from sales trainer John Maxwell. If you've never read any of his books, he's fantastic. I would encourage you. So here's some interesting statistics for you guys. In 2024, there were approximately 79,600 licensed real estate agents in New York, not including brokers. And there were about from New York State Association of Realtors, there was 195,343 total sales. So that's an average of 2.5 sales, 2.45 sales per agent, which means an average of about 4.9 sides per agent. So my question to the people listening, to the agents listening is that enough for you? Maybe you want to be above average. How do you do that? Well, if you want to earn more, if we want to earn more, we have to become more. More what? Well, in my opinion, a more trusted resource for our clients. Trust is vital. It's actually the key ingredient in any relationship. And it's, I believe, by learning our craft and applying not just our knowledge, but also our experience to provide wisdom. Isn't that what our clients want, really? Don't they want our wisdom in understanding the real estate process and understanding the current market? In our high-tech society, anyone can find answers to questions by simply doing what? Going on their phone, doing a Google search. So facts alone are easily attainable. So clients don't need you and me for just facts. They need us for more than facts. They need our wisdom. So what is wisdom? Wisdom, according to definition, is the ability to use knowledge and experience to make good judgments and understand the world around you. That is what differentiates you from other agents: your knowledge, your experience, and of course, your time and effort. Our goal as real estate agents and lenders is to always be a trusted resource to your clients and to be constantly improving to become better at that. We want to differentiate ourselves from our competition. If we are not a trusted resource or consultant, then we are just salespeople. And that leaves us no opportunity for long-term relationships or future businesses, which is based on referrals, right?
Exactly.
Zig Ziglar, David, I know that's your philosophy as well.
It is very much my
that.
philosophy.
I know, and that's why your company is growing, because that's how you operate, and that's fantastic. Zig Ziglar, sales trainer extraordinaire, he said, "Stop selling and start helping." And what does that mean? That means being transparent and honest and putting the client's interest first, even above yourself. Are your clients getting the same vibe from you? If not, then you need to ask yourself how you can get to that place. What is missing in your repertoire? An honest self-assessment is important. What are you good at and what needs improvement? If you're not sure, this is where a great manager like my buddy David comes in and can help you. Ask him to help you.
David who?
David. George Costanza's brother, David. That's who it is.
Yeah.
David can really help you. You know, how does that movie not Trading Places with Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Cuba Gooding Jr. said,
Yeah, we
"Help
know.
me
Yeah,
help you." What was the name of that movie? I don't
help
remember.
me.
Something. Yeah. You know
I
what I
know
mean.
what
You
you
know what I
talk.
mean.
Yeah.
We'll get
That
to
was
it
a
at the
good
end. We'll
movie,
remember.
actually. That was a good movie.
It was a great
Yeah.
movie. It was a great movie. Help me to help you. That's what David is saying to you. So now I'm going to pivot this conversation. Even though I've been in the mortgage business a long time, 28 years, I always want to up my game. And I do that by listening to other professionals, other experts in the field. And that means understanding the ins and outs of my business, the mortgage business, and your business, the real estate business, since they are so connected. Recently, I attended a webinar hosted by one of the country's leading mortgage experts, a guy named Barry Habib. And he was discussing the direction of interest rates, which is, of course, important economically, but also in how it affects mortgage rates and how mortgage rates affects real estate sales. Here are some of the highlights of the webinar so you can use this information, again, to be a trusted resource to your clients, because you want to know more than your clients know. If your clients come to you and they're telling you stuff, you're not the trusted resource. You're not even the expert. You've got to be up your game. Up your game. So here's what he said. The Federal Reserve.
Careful the way you say that. Up your game.
I didn't even think about that. Not up yours, but up your. Thank you, David.
Sorry.
Keeping this light.
Forgive me.
No, it's good, man. It's quite all right. It's why a little levity is good. It's good. So the Federal Reserve, is probably going to lower short-term interest rates between 2 and 4 times this year. Short-term interest rates are called the Fed funds rate. If the Fed does that, the Fed funds rate will be down between 3.25% and 3.5% by the end of the year. Here is a key point to remember when discussing with your clients so that they can see you're the expert. Most people don't know the difference between the Fed funds rate, short-term rate controlled by the Fed, and mortgage rates. Many people think they are one and the same. They think that if the Fed lowers the Fed funds rate, then mortgage rates should decrease as well. But that is not the truth. Yes, the Fed funds rate and mortgage rates are related and sometimes move in the same direction, but they are not one and the same thing. And sometimes they move in opposite directions as they are now. So 30-year mortgage rates are based not on short-term Fed funds rate, but on longer-term 10-year U.S. Treasury rates. The direction of the 10-year U.S. Treasury rates is not based on the Fed funds rate, although it is a factor. U.S. Treasuries, 10-year U.S. Treasuries, long-term interest rates are based on the market's expectation of the movement of inflation. That is the key difference. The metric used, which you may have heard, it's called the Personal Consumption Expenditure, or the PCE, which is currently right now at 2.8% annual inflation, which is higher than the Federal Reserve wants. So if inflation looks like it's going to keep rising, then U.S. Treasuries and mortgage rates go up as well, and vice versa. If you want to share this information with your clients, they will realize that you know way more than they do, and you will be seen as the trusted advisor, the expert. Okay? So according to mortgage experts, inflation is expected to decrease this year. So that means the long-term 10-year treasuries will also decrease as well, and mortgage rates will come down accordingly by the end of the year. Right now, average conventional mortgage rates in the U.S. are around 6.75, give or take, for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. My company, Americana's mortgage rate, is probably around 6.25, as we have rates typically between at least 0.5% to sometimes 1% lower than other banks. Matter of fact, Right now, Americana is offering mortgage rates on FHAs as low as 5.75, way lower than most banks. Going forward, the expectation is that the average conventional mortgage rate by the end of the year will be between 5.75 and 6.25 by the end of the year. That's across the US. As I mentioned, my company's rates are about 0.5% lower than that because we can shop for the lowest possible rate. But for right now, let's use an average expected mortgage rate of around 6% by the end of the year. What does that do to housing, real estate? The expectation is that housing across the US will appreciate between 4 and 5% in 2025, and probably for the next few years as well, due to a shortage of available housing. Now, we all know that real estate is a local phenomenon and a local market. So around here, the appreciation rate, the metropolitan area, the appreciation rate may actually be a little bit higher because we don't have a lot of inventory. Other parts of the country where there's more room to build and there's a lot more new construction going on, those appreciation rates will be a lot lower because, again, there's more supply due to new building and new building starts. So if appreciation rate around here is 4 to 5% per year, if that happens, the compounded appreciation rate will be about 30% higher in the next 4 to 5 years than it is right now. This is a tremendous incentive for clients to buy right now. And a piece of information that I would definitely share with your buyers, because sometimes buyers are on the fence and they're like, well, I'll wait. And I always say to the clients who say that to me, what are you waiting for? To pay more? What's the saying? Marry the house, date the rate. You can always refinance later on if and when interest rates go down, but get in the house now. That's what I always tell my clients. Keep in mind that as interest rates go down, that increases the number of people who can afford a house. So that increases the demand, which means that prices going up even higher, right? Supply and demand. If you have limited supply, you have more demand, prices have to go up. Last bit of information I'm going to share with you. Currently across the US, there are about 45 million households who rent, potential homebuyers, and about 91 million people who already own a property. Of those 91 million households that own a property, they have about 37 trillion, let me repeat that, $37 trillion worth of equity. That's an average of 407,000 per household. And of those 91 million households who own a property, 35 million do not have a mortgage at all. They have about $570,000 per household in equity. So those people who don't have a mortgage, they're not concerned about trading in their low mortgage rate for a higher mortgage rate since they don't have a mortgage. These are the clients I would suggest you as a real estate agent market to. Maybe they want to sell and buy somewhere else. Many people, you guys probably know, are selling here in New York with the high prices, getting cash even, and buying a property cash somewhere else in a less expensive part of the country. Right? Now you can get this information probably on multiple listing, or there's probably other sources where you can get information on what homes do not have a mortgage on them. Okay, I think that's a great avenue to go down.
We actually
David,
looked into that. Yeah, I do too. We actually looked into that on MLS. I don't think we had found the place to do that, but I do know that there are things like Property Shark and Adam Data, which might have that kind of ability to pull that data. That's definitely interesting for sure. And by the way,
I think, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We're going to be, just everybody who's watching this will know that on February 26th, Phil is coming in to do a CE class with us on our second floor about financial literacy for real estate agents. And you're going to get 2 CE credits. I'm plugging it now because it's related to what we're talking about today. there's some
It is.
there's some overlap. I don't know why I keep talking like this. My voice is getting deeper. I don't know why it keeps coming out this way. I don't know what's happening.
You're like Joe Rogan now. You're like Joe Rogan.
I need to get one of those big mics, you know. Hey,
You
so
do,
Phil Caporusso, everybody. Yeah. So anyway, so that's going to be a good conversation. I'm sure that class will be fascinating. So yeah, so we tried looking into. I actually asked Karen to see if there's a way to get that list. I don't think we were able to figure it out yet, but definitely I think that you could go if anyone wants to look to. Yeah, it's available out there. So having said that, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean anything that's public information is available, right? And so all of that is public information because it's all based on the deed, which is a recorded instrument, right? And the mortgage, which is a recorded instrument, right? That information, especially on in the city,
and my guitar, which is also a recorded instrument. Sometimes I'll bring that in next time.
We would love to hear you play. So let me end with this right here. An old boss of mine who owned a bank, he also owned a title company. Excuse me. And he would say to me that around 10% of all houses turn over, meaning change ownership every year. 10%, give or take. Some years it's a little bit more, some years it's a little bit less. Why? Well, houses are sold for many reasons, right? People will downsize. They will upsize. Divorce happens. Death happens. Loss of a job, a new addition to the family, kids moving out, empty nesters. Many, many, many different reasons. Here's a thought or an idea. Since we are going into the tax season, this is a great time to reach out to your accountant, since they are one of the people that clients provide their personal financial information to. Accountants know what's going on financially with whoever they're doing taxes for, right? So also estate attorneys and divorce attorneys, other great sources of potential business. Knowledge is powerful and useful only if we apply it. In order to earn more, we have to be more and do more. I hope this was helpful so that you can become a more successful agent. Thank you, David, and thank you, Mitch.
Of course. Thank you. Thanks, Phil. Actually, I was going to add to what you said about the life events, because that's something that we always talk to people about is, the question that a lot of realtors have for people is, who do you know who's selling a house? Or who do you know who's buying a house? Or who do you know who's trying to find an apartment or whatever? These like very surface questions that often lead nowhere. Mm-hmm. The real questions are what you brought up, which are who's getting married, who just got divorced, who, just had a child, who had a death in the family, who's moving to Florida. All those life-changing events are real estate events. And that's what I always tell people. I always tell people to ask those questions when they're talking to people about real estate. Anyway, so having said that, Phil, thank you so much for spending some time today and for putting up with my banter. And
always fun.
I tried to keep keep quiet for most of it. So what we will do is as I said to you guys before, February 26th, Phil will be with us on our second floor here in Little Neck, and you'll be able to see him in person, live and in person. Phil Caporusso, ladies and gentlemen. He will be he'll be wearing a sparkling blazer. He'll be like having his ascot. He'll be like getting his hair done. It'll be actually really quite...
Not much to get done, bro. Not much to get done.
Well, more than me, for sure.
Maybe I'll get a perm.
There you go. And he's going to have some great information. Anyway, thank you again, Phil. And it's always a pleasure. And we'll do this again soon.
Thank you, David. Everybody take care. Any questions, you can always call me. Even if the deal, if you have a question on the deal, even if it's not my deal and I'm not doing the financing, if you just have a question that you're not sure about, anything real estate related, mortgage related, I'm here to help you.